Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. Whenever we stumble and fall into sin, Psalm 51 is a great model for us to follow. There, in the context of Psalm 51, the historical context, David had sinned with Bathsheba, committing adultery with her. He also had her husband killed in battle, purposely put him in a position to die in battle. And he had really committed a very grievous sin. And the way that he goes about it and the attitude that he has, the things that he says in Psalm 51 is a great model for anyone who stumbles into sin, whether it's just a small, what we might consider a small sin, or something as grievous as what he did, or even further. This is a good example of how we ought to approach that particular situation. And one of the things that's interesting about David's response is, yes, he does pray that God would take away his transgression. He does say, wash me and I shall be whiter than snow. He says, blot out my iniquities. He definitely wanted forgiveness, and he wanted God to not hold this sin accountable to him. But he takes it a step further. He then goes on to say in verse 10, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. And then he goes on to say, further on, he says, and sustain me with a willing spirit. In other words, he recognized his sin, and yes, he wanted that sin forgiven, but he didn't want to stop there. He also wanted to have the Lord help him not to commit a sin like that again, and to get back on track in his spiritual life, and to get back to being devoted to the Lord. And he's asking God to help him to do that. And that's what we should do as well. It might be that after we commit sin, maybe we ask for forgiveness, we confess it to the Lord, and we recognize what we did was wrong. We want him to wash us clean of that sin, and that's good, and we should do that. But we also need to go to the Lord and ask for help, that he would purify us from within, that he would give us a clean heart, that he'd give us a willing spirit, that he would renew a steadfast spirit within us to get us back on track. In other words, we need to, yes, ask for forgiveness for falling off the horse, but we also need to seek the Lord's help in getting back on the horse again and continuing down the track. And so our heart's desire should be to not commit the sin again. That should be our ultimate intention. Seeking forgiveness, but then also seeking help to not commit the sin again, or any other sin that we might commit and violate God's will. And so hopefully, as we do our reading today in Psalm 51, we'll have this information, we'll have this help as we can, or have this help to consider in times when we might fall, in times that we might sin, times we might go astray, how we can approach the Lord. Maybe it'll even give us the language to use in approaching the Lord, so that we can have a right heart before God, and that he can restore us once again. So these are things we can reflect on and think about as we do your reading today. But guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.